Mark, I assume you would agree, a good day, I assume, for the defense. And again, does this give them momentum as they move forward? And is this exchange exactly what they were looking for?
Well, I saw some comments by her lawyer, Mr. Wigdor, outside, and he was saying things like the text of the text, it is what it is, and things along those nature. The kind of the fallback response when your client is being challenged, I suppose. The fact remains that I've never understood, maybe Sarah playing the prosecutor today can tell me this, why, if you're the government and you're supposed to be seeking the truth, and, I won't attack or direct this at these particular prosecutors. I don't want to get sideways with anybody, but I've always wondered why in criminal trials, why prosecutors only give you half the truth. What are they afraid of? Why do they mislead jurors? Why do they not tell the jurors what it is? I mean, obviously, in any trial, you have to exchange discovery. So the prosecutors know these things are coming. Why do they hide it? Why do prosecutors not give the jury the whole picture? Why do they rely on the defense?
I think you know the answer, because we want the conviction. We want the truth, but we don't have an obligation to present all the text messages, so we cherry pick what works for our case. And I think with Cassie today...
But that's actually, Sarah, in your day job as a criminal defense lawyer, how many times have I heard you argue that you have a different job as a criminal defense lawyer than a prosecutor does? Prosecutor's supposed to seek the truth. Defense lawyer is the one who's supposed to zealously advocate.
But in reality, it doesn't work that way. And so I think what we're seeing here is, as the prosecution, I think they've gotten a lot out of Cassie for the racketeering. They got all these predicate acts. They've got the arson on Kit Cudi's car. They've got her alleged rape. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, if there's going to be a text message that's going to negate that, but she alleges she was raped by Diddy. They've got the domestic violence, which you don't have to believe Cassie. Look, we showed you video of that incident multiple times, right? And so I'm afraid of that.
The problem you've got, Sarah, you're still, like I say, I would just wait until I see
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I also think
that's what the judge tells the jurors, and just wait, because yesterday I heard a lot of stuff on people. Part of the problem with the legal analysts, and myself included, is we look at these things like an ESPN, who's ahead first quarter, second quarter, and that's, the jurors are told, you can't decide until you've heard everything, and I'd caution people, wait and hear everything.
So, Mark, let's talk about that. You say wait. What are we waiting for? And what I mean by that is the core of the charges here are built on RICO and racketeering. So if you're an audience member looking here, what else does the prosecution need to bring forward? Who are the witnesses? What kind of testimony do we need to see to make those really substantive charges, stick? What are we expecting?
Well, look, you can have, part of what the argument is if you've got domestic violence, does that mean that you were supporting the enterprise? Does that mean you were supporting the racketeering? Does it mean, the part of the conundrum that is here for the prosecution is, and I'm sure you're going to see this later on, is this case a revisionist history? Meaning, are we looking back 10, 20 years, and are we trying to rewrite history? Because in a lot of ways, Sean Combs, as everybody knows, Sean Combs was the biggest star on the planet in the 90s and the early 2000s. This supposed conspiracy starts in 2004. He was wildly successful before 2004. So it's almost turning the world on its head in terms of what the prosecutorial theory is here. The judge is going to give instructions. He's going to tell the jurors, you just concentrate on what's shown in the courtroom, and here is the law, and you have to apply the facts as you see them.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.